Most weeks I come here, I tell you guys something you don't know. That's right. Every week I do. But this week I can't tell you anything you don't know. Pretty much everything is the same from last week. We're at all-time highs. Bitcoin's going higher. Bonds are down again this week. SMCI is still mooning. Like pretty much the same week happened as last week, except one day. One day. CPI report, right? And we're getting a little bit again today. It's actually going into my whole story. What I really want to ask you is, was the CPI report / whatever we get today, PPI came in hot, were these outliers? Were these outliers? Is this going to change the landscape of everything that I just said a second ago? All-time highs, bonds down, so on and so forth.
No, I don't think it changes anything.
You don't think it changed anything?
No, I don't think it changed anything. I think it's, again, markets are incredibly efficient. And what you've seen now that they've, 30 minutes later, they've already pretty much, just disseminated all the news, figured it all out pricing wise. And, bonds are back where they were 2 days ago. Notes are back where they were 2 days ago. And the S&Ps are $100 higher.
So you think Tuesday's reaction was an overreaction?
Well, based on where the market is today, I mean, how could you come up with any other conclusion?
Well, I'll tell you how. One is that that report coming in hot obviously changes the landscape for rate cuts. And believe it or not, rate cuts are the thing that's moving this market this year so far to this date. So
I agree with you there, Jamal.
That's the thing.
That news.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And so even after today, well, look, we got five possible 6 meetings left, right? And at the beginning of the year, basically, people thought that we were going to get a cut at every single meeting. We got 1, 2, including May, we got 6 left, right? Now, it seems like May halfway might be taken off the table. If you take May off the table, look, every one of these meetings is like it's like Back to the Future, where they had the picture of the 3 kids in the picture. And every time that it got longer, the time Marty started to disappear. Every one of these that disappears like a bomb. Every meeting that disappears, that there's no rate cut, is like a bomb going off, because we basically moved higher on the idea that we would get more rate cuts. So if you don't think it was an overreaction, if we take May off the board, if we take June off the board, what's going to happen to this market?
Absolutely freaking nothing. What happened to you?
What do you mean?
What did you turn in?
What did you? The biggest bear I knew for the longest time. What happened to you?
Did you not hear my whole speech on how we had to take in, Ilya and Chris through adoption? They were left on the doorstep. But you've been not.
He's been influenced a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
no. I talk about what makes things move. This is making markets move right now.
Remember back in the day.
That's the whole point. This is not making markets move. This is just
making.
No.
What are you talking about? You don't think the rates are making the rate cut thing is making markets move?
No, not one bit.
You're out of your mind.
Not one bit. This is all the markets. The markets already did what they. The rate cut has this very short-term emotional effect, like it had on Tuesday, or like it had this morning, which gets completely minimized or resolved within a matter of 30 seconds, 24 hours, whatever it is, and the market goes back to being whatever the market is. No, all this stuff is just all garbage.
This from a guy who said we were going to be down on 90 on what was that, Tuesday? And cheered as soon as we touched 90, even though we didn't end there.
I understand that, but that's trading. What you're talking about is trying to.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know you're trying to make some. I don't try to make a story up around it.
That's what I do. I do it very well, by the way. I mean, but it's true though. No, these rate cuts. It's. I think the more that these are in limbo, I think you're going to get more nervousness. I just do. I mean. Look where Bitcoin is right now. Bitcoin's not at highs. It was 69, I think was the high, right? But it's at 53 and climbing. Look at these tech names. 20 of the top names. I looked at top options. And by the way, I mean, the options are going crazy right now. Everybody's trading options again, of course. 0 DTE, all record high. I looked at the top 20 names yesterday. 70% of them were either Bitcoin related or tech related. That's where we are. That's what's happening. And if you add in the S&P things, S&P index, SPX, and SPYs, that's like 90% of trading right now.
So what does that mean to you?
It means we're concentrated is what it means to me.
Yeah, I know, but what does that mean that you're concentrated? Don't you
we're
think
very
that
concentrated and the landscape changes with these rate cuts and we pull one or two
forget
away.
the rate cuts? The rate cuts are irrelevant. The rate cuts are just tracking bonds. But what does bonds just dropped 10 points. Rates just went not 10 points, 7 points. Rates went significantly higher, and it didn't move the market one bit. It actually sent the market even higher. So forget rates. They're irrelevant. What does...
Don't you think that's weird?
No, I don't think that's weird at all. What do you think, in fact, because the market's able to process this and internalize it all, that's why all these talks about rate cuts is just a waste of time. But what do you think about the risk of concentration? Concentration risk, that's the really interesting story that nobody's talking about.
Right. That's the real interesting story.
I don't know if nobody's talking about it. I mean, they've mentioned the 7. It's become now 3. I mean, you know what I mean? It's gotten even more concentrated.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of people in the same trade going in the same direction. That's why I don't think Tuesday was an overreaction, because that's exactly what you saw. There's a lot of people panic. We're in the same trade. I got to get out of here for a little bit. This is too much.
So, if you mentioned, we talked a little bit about, is this a meme type thing with SMCI and even some of these other ones like NVIDIA and such. And my answer to you was more on the no side. After watching today and yesterday's action, Jamal, you got to watch this for a minute. Stocks don't move $70 in a day. The numbers have gotten so big that, yeah, I really think it's starting to feel like that type of situation again.
Well, forget about SMCI, because that's just an outlier. But there are definitely stocks, like
EMAX up $20.
Well, that was earnings, but you have.
I don't think that's an outlier though. Like, it's a representative of the current environment. You know what I mean? I don't think it's an outlier. I know it's not like. It's not Tesla. It's not it's not NVIDIA. It's not as big as those. It's a small cap name. So, that can happen in a small cap name, but I think it's indicative of the current environment. You know what I mean? And it's not meme. It's not the same as GME. GME, look, I'm a video game dude. GME, nobody bought games from GME for years. What was happening was absolutely ridiculous, and it didn't have anything to support it. I mean, this is just operating the way that it is in this current environment, and I don't even know if the float is short. I don't know what the hell, but $110, $500 within like a couple of weeks. That's crazy moves. I don't care how small cap you are. That's bananas.
Got it.
And it's crowded, and it's indicative of the environment is what I'm getting at. And so I think the biggest thing that I feel worrisome about, again, I know you think it's irrelevant, but the rate cut thing is important because it's what everybody's paying attention to. It's what a lot of the market has risen on. And if we start to those start to evaporate. If there's no rate cut in May, I always thought June was going to be the first one. If for some reason we still get hot data from CPI for whatever reason, and there's no rate cut in June, man, it's going to be scary. I'm telling you. Because then all of a sudden we don't have the ability to have 6 rate cuts. Now it's down to 4, and that's it, right? And are we going to get one in November? You remember, the November meeting is 2 days after the election, by the way. That's going to be a volatile one. We may not even get one there. So it's something that I think bears watching, because at the end of the day, it's going to bring back vol. That's all I would say. Don't be too crowded. Don't be too crowded.
Okie dokie.
Okay. Wow. You guys. Okay.
On the opposite side.
You're on the opposite side. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. It's understandable.
Very good. Sad enough, even the S&P is down 3, NASDAQ up 32, and the Dow down 106, Russell down 26, bonds down 28. To this point, bonds going lower, rates go higher. Rates going higher means no cut. Correct, Jamal?
Rates going higher means no cut.
We'll be back in 90 seconds, I guess. We got more Tasty Live after this.